Where motivation lacks, discipline must live.
Yeah.
And we have talked about this before. If you have listened to any Beit pod, you probably have heard someone or myself say there's like motivation is not going to get you very far.
It's a fickle friend.
It's a fickle friend. And so discipline, habits are the things you need to help you show up for yourself.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-hosts in life are going to dig into the perspicacious.
Did you do that on purpose?
No.
On purpose?
We're going to dig into the perspicacious. Did you choose this word?
That was right, except you laughed so nobody could understand you. So what is the word?
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap. My co-host in life, we're going to dig into the perspicacious combo. Why did you pick this word? I know Belle didn't pick this word.
I didn't pick this word.
Belle picked this word?
Belle picked this word.
Leave it in, Kev. Belle, I can't. I went to speech therapy. These are too many S's and P's together.
Perspicacious
combo. Well, anyways, it was a deep combo I had with Janey Brown in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that interview, feel free to pause this now, go back and listen to that one, and then come back and join us. Or if you like to listen to this one and then go back and listen to that one, that's great. You can do you.
Do it.
Today, if you're listening in real time, is December 21st, 2023, and it is the winter solstice.
What?
The winter solstice marks the day with the shortest period of daylight, aka everyone's worst nightmare, and the longest night of the year in the northern hemisphere. All thanks to the tilt of the earth. In many cultures, the day is a day of feasting and celebration. But even if you're totally agnostic, you can still find a reason to rejoice, because after today, you'll see gradually shorter nights and longer days, which means it's better. It's better. When there's more daylight, it's better. It's a real thing. Seasonal affectiveness disorder is a real thing.
Oh, I do not disagree.
Thank you. Thank goodness I have a red light therapy system from Sauna Space. Check the links in the bios. We'll get you the discount code because you will need it on this day. Okay, so we are currently on tour. I believe as we speak, we're in Brooklyn. Tomorrow we're in Manhattan. We and then are in Hershey, and then we have a few days off before Greensboro,
North Carolina,
Charleston.
Yep,
that's in South Carolina. Yep. Miami, Sarasota.
Austin, Texas, Dallas, Albuquerque, and then
Sedona,
Arizona.
Yes. I'm sure they appreciate how you said that state name. Anyways, after the tour, I'm going to kick off Elevate, my fourth round of my mentorship program. So there might be a spot left when you listen to this.
There might be.
You definitely don't want to wait till 2025. Just going to say it. So
there's still time to get in. The kickoff call's on in early January, but the first weekend of workshops is actually not until February.
Yeah. So you'll want to go to lesleylogan.co/elevate for that.
Yeah.
Or shoot me a message and we'll get on a call to chat about it.
Why would they do it? What's a one-liner? Why would they do it?
You're burning out, tired of feeling like you don't know what you're doing, and you pre-plan way too much only for your client to come in with a broken arm. So it's for all of you who are trying to be perfect in your teaching. Guess what? There's no such thing. And it actually helps you understand the why behind the what.
Cool.
Because my teacher was one of Joseph Pai's clients. So
I love that. Understand the why behind the what.
Yeah. It's not about being a parrot, y'all.
All right.
Then later in January, we're going to open up the doors for Early Bird for Cambodia. Space is super limited, and those on the wait list for that are going to get the best early bird option rate.
Oh yeah, so we're going in October, but we're going to start the kickoff and the all that kind of stuff in January. So stay tuned for that. Mm-hmm. You can get on the wait list at lesleylogan.co/retreats with an S.
Yeah. And then in February, it's Agency Mini number 10.
Woo! Whoa.
Dies.
Holy macaroni.
Yeah. Dap. Is it, what's 10 in Cambodian? Dap.
Dup.
Yeah. So it's, and then the 10th one, and it's really, really exciting. So Pilates teachers out there, that one is for you if you are wanting to actually get paid doing what you love.
Yeah.
So, or you want to actually, maybe you're getting paid, but you're overworking yourself. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. So if you want to get more info about that, get on the wait list for Mini at profitablepilates.com/mini.
Yeah. Before we dive into Janey Brown's amazing words for us, do we have an audience question to answer, Mr.
Oh,
Brad?
we sure do today. Quite exciting. Today is a fun one for us because it's something that we're super passionate about. We were asked, hey, love your decks. Do you sell them as a bundle? And what she was referencing is the flashcard decks that are available through OPC, onlinepilatesclasses.com. We have these epic flashcard decks that I jokingly refer as the most complex offhand side comment that Lesley ever made. Oh, hey, we should make decks. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know how to do that. And now it's been 4 years and I don't know, 2,000 hours later, at least.
Yeah.
You know, to put all these decks together. And we have
still
2
more.
more decks coming. So do we sell them as a bundle? Today, we do not.
Nope.
However,
we will someday.
Stay tuned in 2 more years when the last decks are released. And then we're going to make a fun little like pack to hold
Brad
everything.
wants to make a collector's box.
I really do.
So if you are waiting on the bundle because you think bundle equals discount,
Yeah.
that's not happening.
No. No, it's going to be the opposite.
Here's the deal, guys. It's not because I don't want you to save money. I love people making money, saving money, I understand that money is an investment when you buy things. You have to also understand that these decks cost a freaking fortune to make, a fortune to make.
Yeah.
Like just the chair deck alone, we had to sell over 300 decks before it paid our investment back.
Yeah.
So, and that was not the time.
That was just the print.
That was just the
that
print.
wasn't the 500 hours at least it took to actually make
Or
it.
the people
Not
on the
that
team.
you should be crying for us, but
No.
the reality is, these decks are, they've been put together with a lot of love and care. And there's, I don't know, a half dozen, maybe even more people who are touching every deck before it makes it into your hands. Plus, then we obviously work with a really amazing manufacturer out of Florida, and they're making them super high quality. So we're really, really proud of them. And we absolutely want to have a bundle. We're not there yet. We got 2 more decks to release before we do that.
Yeah. So at any rate, if you are like, but I want to save money on your decks, here is the secret. Here's the secret sauce.
The secret.
We only put a new deck on sale when it's on pre-sale.
That's right.
And if you are on the wait list, you are going to get the pre-sale price. So we actually do not do a public pre-sale. It is a private pre-sale. So you'll want to go on the wait list. I think Brad is going to look that up because I actually don't know what that wait list link is. But if you're on that, then you'll get the best price because we actually give you the pre-sale 30% off what the regular price is going to be. And we don't put the other decks on sale generally. I'm not going to say never, but pretty much not. And they definitely go 30% off ever again. So at any rate, I want you to have these because they're amazing. I also promise you they are really worth every single penny. Each card is really beautifully made. So
yeah. So if you're interested in more information about that, you can actually see what flashcards we're talking about if you go to opc.me/flashcards. And if you're interested in getting on the wait list for the upcoming barrels deck or the upcoming accessories deck, just chat to us, go to opc.me/chat, and we'll make sure to add you to those wait lists. And you'll be in the know.
Yeah. Okay.
Great question. Thanks.
You can send your questions in just anywhere you can get in contact with us.
Yeah.
And we'll answer it on the next pod.
Yeah. Okay, now let's talk about Janey Brown. She's a multi-talented individual, a singer, performer, and psychology student who has a strong belief in the power of healthy habits and discipline. Janey has faced challenges and setbacks, but remains resilient and determined to pursue her goal, even if it means taking a slower path. She values the process of self-discovery and embracing one's dark side to achieve personal growth and fulfillment.
Yeah. I love that she's like a multi-hyphenated individual because like it's really fun to see someone go after something that is so artistic and people might think like, oh my God, you're made as a musician. Then she is actually challenging herself in the next way to like incorporate all the interests that she has. And she, one of the reasons we wanted to talk to her is because she does things even with the fear, like forcing herself to do things even though she is scared. And for her, it's actually quite hilarious that academia was the less scary route.
She's a stage performer, but going to school was scarier than singing on stage.
Yeah, which would be like the exact opposite of most people. Most people I find are like, I'll go back to school because that feels safe, and not like doing the other thing, which feels really scary, which is usually putting themselves out there. So I just thought it was like a kind of funny irony. But anyways, for her going to academia was outside of her comfort zone, and she tries to, while forcing herself the fear, she's also trying to be kind and loving towards herself, because I think it's really easy to get
what people are presenting. We're only seeing what they want us to see, right? So we have no idea what's going on behind the scenes and what people are actually struggling with, right? And so she said countless people were looking at her going back to school saying, oh my God, you're so lucky you get to go back to school, right? And she's like, yeah, well, I didn't feel lucky at all. This was actually super difficult for me to do, really challenging for me to do, because they're comparing it to, like, they're bringing their own, story to her conversation, right? And it wasn't her reality, right? It wasn't reality for her. I mean, so they're saying like, oh my God, that's so lucky. Good for you. Lucky for you. And she's like, actually, I'd rather be singing on stage, but I need to do this right now at this point in my life. So, and then she also talked about the humbling experience and trying to balance multiple pursuits, right? How do you go back to school and have your, stage performing, your career? And how do you balance all that stuff? And how do you treat yourself? Because the conversation that it's really easy to, again, like right in line with the grass being greener on the other side, is you see what other people are doing and you're like, I feel behind, right? And what you two were talking about, which I thought was really quite poignant.
I was waiting for you to say poignant.
Yeah,
I love an episode where Brad brings up the word poignant.
Is that it's possible that someone who's kicking ass doing something similar to you is only doing that thing. Again, you don't actually know, right? So if they are able to focus, man, they really could be taking leaps and bounds in the place that you want to be, but you're doing two things, right? And so maybe you're not moving as quickly as them, or, you're feeling behind, but for what's on your plate, you are actually moving forward at the pace that's possible when you're juggling multiple things, right?
Yeah.
And she said that's really tough, especially for high achievers, because the ego kicks in and you really start beating yourself up.
Yeah. Well, but what's the race? Like what's the hurry? I think it as a recovering high achiever, overachiever, I'm going to say overachiever because I am. As a recovering overachiever, one of the things I constantly have to remind myself of is like, no one put the deadline there but me.
Most often it's our own deadline.
We had in our adult lives in the last 3.5 years, there was like one deadline that was not our deadline that we had to meet goals by.
You're talking about buying our house.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the only deadline that
the only real
deadline that
had
we
legit
had
consequences.
But every other deadline, it's like arbitrary. It's like the end of the year calendar. It's, like these are.
I mean, there's opportunities with certain deadlines, like now is the right time of the year to be marketing this or that.
Correct.
Or whatever, but it's not like a hard deadline.
Yeah. And I was just listening to James Wedmore. He said he's got so many coaches that he coaches, like so many entrepreneurs that he coaches, that every single one of them has done a sale at one particular time of every week of the year, summer, winter, spring, fall. Like, yes, there are these like lightning in a bottle dates that could be awesome if you make things happen by then.
Yeah.
But I love to remind myself, like, what is for you will not pass you. Like, what is for you will not pass you. So if what you're doing is literally the thing, you are like, I should be doing this and everyone should be knowing it from me. The results you are going to get, the things you want, are not going to pass you by just because you weren't ready by some specific Tuesday holiday that really no one cares about. Yeah. Like winter solstice. How many of you remember this? It's the same date, by the way. It's always 12/21. Always. You can't it's not like the second Tuesday of every 5th month. It's like the same date. It is okay to go, guess what? We're doing Cyber Monday next time. Like you just take that pressure off, because you're putting this pressure that there's this deadline that you made for yourself. Now, I love a deadline because for those procrastinators out there, it's what you need. But it's also okay to go, wow, I hit this obstacle, and this obstacle cost me 30 days. Well, then move the deadline 30 days. Why are you killing yourself?
Yeah. Also, the other thing is too, our other coach, Rory, basically says, what you focus on is what's going to move forward.
Yeah.
And if you try to focus on too many things, you're not going to move much forward, or if you are, you just have to be okay with knowing that they're only going to move forward incrementally.
Yeah.
It's not going to be leaps and bounds. So maybe focusing on less things will allow you to really move the needle on that 1 or 2 projects.
Yeah, I'm in.
All right. So finally, let's talk about those beit action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Janey Brown?
I liked this quote she gave, where motivation lacks, discipline must live.
Yeah.
And we have talked about this before. If you have listened to any Beit pod, you probably have heard someone or myself say there's motivation is not going to get you very far.
It's a fickle friend.
It's a fickle friend. And so discipline, habits are the things you need to help you show up for yourself.
Yeah.
And we actually we're listening to this guy who I'm hoping to get on the pod. I just actually have to reach out to him. I'm sure it's totally possible. But he was talking about pushing or pulling. And he's pushing is willpower. And a lot of us put willpower and motivation the same way. Pushing, you will get exhausted and it will not be there when you need it. It's not easy.
Great for getting started.
Yeah.
Eventually it fizzles.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
you burn out.
Yeah. BJ Fogg says in Tiny Habits, motivation is really great if the start to doing something is harder. So for example, you're trying to push a rock up a hill. You need motivation at the beginning to get it going. But after that, it's going to be your habits that keep it going. So in the other example that we're talking about with push and pull, pulling are the things that you do, the mindset you have, the actions that you take that help welcome and kind of pull you along, which is so much nicer. Who wouldn't like to be pulled along?
Yeah.
Gonna be honest. One day you pulled me in a wagon. That was a great dog walk. Loved it. Loved it. Right. So at any rate, if you are struggling with your motivation, I want you to look at your habits. I want you to look at the discipline you have in your life, because that is what's keeping you from achieving the goals you want and the desires you have. It's not your motivation. It's not that you need more of it. What about you?
Yeah. So I thought this was really a fantastic follow-up to last week's episode where we were talking about our gut, right? Or the, what's the word that we were using?
Perspicacious.
No, the word that we were using in replacement of gut from the one we did on Wednesday.
Intuition.
Yeah. Where she was talking about our gut or our intuition, the follow-up from last week's episode. She also mentioned our heart, and ultimately she mentioned our nervous system. And I thought this is really interesting because we were talking about how do we get in touch with how do we stay in tune with our gut? And she mentioned that it's connected to the nervous system, right? And ultimately, what does it make your body feel like? And what I really liked was she said, it actually requires but you can be more in tune with your gut through a physical practice of some way, whether that's running or Pilates or yoga or whatever. I mean, she does yoga, right? And she said there's 2 types of yoga in the sense of what we're talking about here. One is I'm going to go in and beat the shit out of myself yoga. And then there's the other type of yoga where you're actually being grounded and taking it easy and listening to yourself. That's a really beneficial way to be more in tune with your gut or more in tune with your nervous system. And when you're willing to listen to your body, you're literally listening to your body. So that's how you can stay more in touch with your gut. So I thought that was really practical, helpful advice for something that, like I said before, can be sometimes 2 woos, but it's not. It can be 1 woo here. So
yeah, 1 woo all the way.
Love it. I thought that was really great.
Yeah. Well, how are you guys going to use the tips in your life? Which ones were your takeaways? We want to know. We love hearing from you. And it's so much fun. Our agency members tell us inside of agency all the time, which is so fun. In fact, I've seen some of them quote people's Beit action items. They're like, hey, did you listen to this episode? Because that action item might help you here. And I'm like, fuck yeah, that's so great. I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We are not taking a break during the holiday. You're going to get your episodes on the same cadence because I know what it's like to be on a travel trip and 0 podcasts. In fact, the day we're recording this, I just want you to know, I have 1 podcast in my listen nows, and I had to save it because I know Brad's going to want to listen to it on the dog walk. So because I don't want to leave your listen nows empty, we got some epic interviews, some
Coming
great recaps, some FYFs. They're all coming at you. And until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Kroll.
It is produced and edited by the epic team at Diseño.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals and Samena Velazquez for our transcriptions.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all the content to our website, and finally to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.